Welcome to You're Not Alone, the podcast that brings you real stories of strength, hope, and resilience. Our guests are real people just like you who have faced losses, anxieties, and life obstacles but emerged stronger. Today's guest went from handcuffs to healing crystals. Meet Valerie Holden. After 20 years as a police officer, Valerie swapped her badge for Bossy Woo, a fierce mix of tough love, spiritual sass, and intuitive power. She can clear your energy and call you out with love in the same breath. Buckle up. This one got sirens, sage, and a whole lot of soul. My name is Victoria Vita. I'm a mindset mentor, Reiki Master, and a sound healer. I'm also the CEO and founder of Self Awesomeness and the host of this podcast. And today's guest is Valerie Holden. You don't meet people like Valerie very often. She spent 2 decades as a police officer, mastering command, control, and survival. But when the uniform came off, her real power emerged. She is now the force behind Bossy Woo, a no BS blend of spiritual insight and fierce feminine fire. If you're ready to ditch the excuses and get real about your life, she's the one to shake you awake in the most soul aligned way possible. Thank you, Valerie, being on today's podcast. Welcome. And
Thank you, Victoria.
your background is such a fascinating blend, like 20 years as a police officer, then stepping into the world of intuition and healing. On the surface, those two paths seem so worlds apart. What was the turning point that made you start shifting towards what eventually became Bossy Woo? And I love that name.
Thank you. Um, I actually loved being a police officer, uh, being out in the public and being able to help people. But there was something inside me that felt like something was missing, that I was supposed to be doing something else and not necessarily changing careers at that time, but maybe putting something more into my life. And I didn't know what it was. So actually got into energy healing and I became a Reiki Master and I started learning hypnosis and a lot of alternative healing techniques. And what was interesting, especially even with the Reiki, I was actually able to use it while I was at work a few times. So that was fun. And something that was interesting as I started doing that, I had some of my coworkers tell me that when I arrived on a scene, everything just seemed to calm down.
Oh.
And yeah, I attribute that to just the energy work and just all that stuff just helps become calm, stress free. And so that was really interesting. But learning all these things, I knew when I retired, I wanted to do healing work. And so when I retired, I actually started a hypnosis center. And I would
Oh,
have
wow.
people come to me. Yeah, one of my hypnosis techniques was doing past life regression and then connecting with my client's higher self.
Hmm.
And during those sessions, almost everybody wanted to know what their purpose was. And it reminded me of what I felt like, 20 years earlier. And during those sessions, it was like a one-time session, and then that was it. They were off on their own. And I started
Correct.
thinking, if they are like me, sometimes we need some additional support. Yes, we might get some answers, but we need that encouragement and support to
Hmm.
actually move along and achieve some stuff.
Correct.
And so I started thinking, well, I had also been training in life coaching, and I thought I'm going to add coaching to this and help people find their purpose because I know when I felt lost or I felt like a piece of me was missing, it would have been very helpful to have some encouragement. Um, Sometimes my friends would or relatives would say, "Well, what are you doing now?" Because I'd be doing this or that, and it was more like stopping me from moving forward because it was like, well, you start something and you never finish. Well, no, it's because I'm learning so many things and adding to my toolbox. But
Hmm.
so when I came up with Bossy Woo, and it started as a joke at first because that was going to be the way I was going to coach. I thought as a police officer, I got to be bossy, telling people what to do. As a flight attendant, I did that for a few years. I got to be bossy, sit down, put your seatbelt on. And because I thought, if I have a coach, I don't want a coach that's almost like a therapist. Like, what do you think? Because if I
Mm-hmm.
knew what I wanted to do or where I needed to go, I wouldn't need a coach. So I was going to be guiding my clients as well. So that's what I called it, the bossy part. But
Mm-hmm.
then it's incorporated with a spiritual aspect of it. And so the
Mm-hmm.
bossy and the woo. But as it grew, my clients are actually bossy woo. They now, through getting clarity, getting the courage to start moving forward, and then getting the confidence once they start taking those first steps, they become
Mm-hmm.
bossy woo. They are their own boss, in addition to that spiritual connection.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it, bossy woo. And I have my little
Oh,
hat
I
with
love
bossy
this
woo.
hat. I love the name. I think it stands out definitely
Yeah.
and it catches attention. How
Oh,
did you
thank you.
navigate the identity shift from being an officer to a holistic healer coach? And were there any fears or resistance? As you said, some people were trying to stop you, right? Like you're doing so many different things. How did you navigate through that time?
I loved my job, but I knew it was coming to an end. So, and I had had a dream of doing this other work for a long time. So instead of regretting or being scared of where I was going, I was actually looking forward to this new chapter in my life. And
Hmm.
I'm not missing anything anymore. I love the work, but what I did what I needed to do. I did what my purpose was at that time during my police officer career.
Hmm.
But now I was being called to something else. So it was more of an adventure that I was starting. And yes, I have good memories of what I was doing. And I can still keep in touch with my friends if I want to, but it's just I have a new line of work now. I'm helping people in a different way. So it was
Hmm.
more exciting than fearful. And
Hmm.
that's one thing I like to share with people too. The fears that we get, especially, we keep our emotions end up in our body. And when we start getting, our stomach flip-flopping or our heart beating fast, that's the same sensation we get if we're afraid of something or if we're excited about something.
Yes,
So I like to turn it around when someone says, I'm afraid to do this. Like, how about if you look at it as, I'm excited to do
excited.
this?
Yeah.
And just take all those feelings and turn it into something positive.
Yeah, because where the fear, there is a growth, right? So, and you
Mhm,
get more
exactly.
excited about opportunities and changes, like in a
Mhm.
good way. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. And how do you blend that? Oh, I know that you're a Sagittarius, as me. I'm a Sagittarius as well. How do you blend that bossy Sagittarius energy with spiritual guidance when working with clients? So maybe you can show us how Bossy Woo actually look like in practice, please.
Well, one of the things that I do is I do oracle card readings. So
Okay.
many times at the beginning of a session, we'll pull an oracle card to just set the intention for the session. Um,
Hmm.
if you like, we can do that now.
Let's do it. Yes.
Okay, let me grab my deck. Since you were talking about energies, I've got the Seven Energies Oracle card deck. And
Awesome.
these coordinate with the chakras. And I do a lot of chakra work as well, chakra
Hmm.
balancing, sound healing. So, what I like to do is, what do we need to know today for our best and highest good? Ooh, this is an interesting one.
Oh, I love it.
Awakening genius.
Oh, see, this is perfect for this episode for me as well, for everybody, I guess, who's watching.
It
Wow.
is. Okay, let's see what the message for that one is. So, the key concept for this card is the spirit of creative expression, bringing forth new information, birthing, knowing that your ideas matter. And the message, the ancient Greeks believed that each person had a specific genius that acted like a spirit guide, inspiring you with new ideas to further your evolution as an individual, as well as the evolution of all humanity. You could say that genius is the spirit of creative expression, And when you tune into it, amazing things happen. When your genius awakens, you realize you do not have to do everything yourself. You have an inspired, dedicated, wise helper on your side. Today, you can imagine cultivating a playful relationship with this extraordinary spirit. If you can, you'll recognize that you don't have to solve every problem with only the knowledge, memories, and experiences you already have have accrued. Your intellect, in this case, serves as a channel for this spirit of genius, and it can filter in new information. How you forged this connection is to get out of your own way and simply allow it to work through you. The word genius comes from the Latin, I'm going to spell this word, Gignere, gignere, meaning to bring forth or birth, and shares the same root as the word generate. You are at this moment about to give birth to a new mode of expression, and a powerful one at that. Commit to partnering with your genius, and only deep satisfaction and successful result. Today is a day when your inspired ideas matter. This is so amazing because it also flows with that's one of the first steps I do in Bossy Woo is getting clear on what your purpose is. And then
Hmm.
we tap into our intuition, which to me, intuition goes along with the spirit of the genius
Correct.
because we get the things that we love and the things that are our purpose from the divine, from God, from, as this says, the spirit, which guides us. It just all flows.
Yeah, it's
It's
amazing.
amazing.
It's amazing.
There's there are no coincidences.
There are no, yeah, truly believe in
Yeah,
it. There are no coincidences. Yes.
yeah. I have chills with this. It was like perfect. Yeah,
Yeah, so we're going to let our inner genius to strive and trust, I guess, ideas that we have and implement them with
yeah.
excitement, not
Every,
fear.
mhm. Everybody has that inner genius, and all you need to do is just tap into it. And what is the best way that you receive messages
Hmm.
from this genius or from the spirit that's giving you those messages or the universe or divine, whatever you call that higher power.
Hmm.
And yeah, you just need to listen to those messages and it will guide
Yes.
you. It will guide you to your genius that's inside you. It'll bring it out.
How would you recommend to listen to the messages? Because I know some people who are in healing work, when we say listen to the messages, and we sometimes may not actually hear the message ourselves, even being in healing work. But for people who are far away from healing work, what would you recommend for them to do to start hearing and trusting messages they receive?
There's 5 ways that you can tap into your intuition, and that's what I call the connection with the divine.
Mhm.
And so the first one is clairvoyance, and that's seeing things. So do you get visions, or when you're trying to think of something, do you get pictures in your mind rather than more intellectual things?
Mhm.
So all of a sudden start seeing things. What is it that's coming into your mind picture wise? Also, it could be something as simple as you're driving down the street and you see a billboard and it's got a message that all of a sudden answers a question that you had. So just pay attention to the things that you're
Pay
seeing,
attention.
but actually
Mhm.
take it in. And then the next one is hearing things. Sometimes just voices might pop into your head, and it doesn't mean you have a mental illness. It means no, you need to listen to those things. Um, there was actually, and this was really interesting. I live in Utah, and in northern Utah, this was a sad story, but it had a good ending. A lady had driven off the highway and gone down the hill, and I guess her car had been there for a couple of days. And
Oh, wow.
some officers like heard they were giving a message inside their head that they needed to go to this area and sort of look over the hill. And they went there and they found her car at the bottom of the hill. And unfortunately, she didn't make it, but she had a little 3-year-old in her car with her that was still alive. I'm getting
Oh
chills
my
again.
good. Me too.
And yeah, if they hadn't heard that message, that little one wouldn't have made it either. And
Yes.
so they tapped into that message that they had here. So seeing and then hearing. And then there's also just a feeling that you get, whether it's like a gut feeling
Hmm.
or like us that were doing things, we're getting chills. When I first started being more attuned to things, I noticed I would get, it was almost like angel wings were rubbing my arms, just sort of giving me confidence, like you're on the right track. And now it's like I get chills. Um, if it's really on track, I get chills like all over my body, and
Yeah,
I
like
know
goosebumps.
it's
Yeah,
the right.
sometimes like, oh, okay, so here it is. I can feel
Exactly.
the
But
energy. Yeah.
yeah, but then you got to listen to your gut. If your gut is telling you something, you need to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's sometimes just knowing things. Something might just pop into your head. Sometimes when I was working with my clients and I'm talking to them about something, all of a sudden things just come out of my mouth that I had no idea where it was. It wasn't something that I really knew, but it was the right answer for them.
Yes.
And a little surprising at first, but I know I'm used to it. And then the fifth one is dreaming. What is it
Mm-hmm.
that you dream of? Do you remember your dreams? Do your dreams answer your questions? And many times when you go to sleep, if there's a question that you have that you want an answer to, put that out into the universe. I'd like an answer to whatever it is and let your dream solve it for you. So
Yes.
that was the five: seeing things, hearing things, the gut feeling, knowing things, and dreaming. So
Dreaming.
just pay
Mm-hmm.
attention to that. And many of us, there's one that takes precedence, one that we feel more, but we can also tap into many of them. You could
Mm-hmm.
do one, two, three, you could have all five that work
Yeah.
for you.
You said that you help women to find their purpose in life and get clarity in their lives. Can you please walk us those steps that you work through your clients at Bossy
Sure.
Woo?
Yeah. So the first one is we get clear on our purpose. So there's some exercises that we do to figure out what is it that you really want to do with your life. What are the things that you're passionate about? Because we're given those things that we love or the things that we do well because that is part of our purpose. We were
Mm-hmm.
born with these things inside us, and now we have to follow those things to achieve our dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So we figure out what it is, and then we go into what we just talked about, the intuition part, developing their intuition so
Mm-hmm.
they can receive those messages easier and understand them when they get them. And then we also manage stress because if you're not living your purpose and you're feeling there's something that I need to do, or, I'm in the wrong place, or I have part of me missing, or I feel lost, that causes stress. And stress can make you ill. It can cause different diseases or illnesses. It can
Mm-hmm.
just make you not feel good. Um, it's it's not good. So we work through stress, and we do that through energy healing, whether sometimes it's the chakra balancing, sometimes it might be Reiki, sometimes it's just a meditation
Mm-hmm.
visualization that we do. And then and sound healing. I love my crystal sound bowls and all the sound healing, just doing a sound bath. That is just so relaxing. And many times when
Yes.
we're doing that, we do the chakra balancing at the same time. And when
Mm-hmm.
someone's done with a session, it's like you're like a loose rubber band.
Yes. Yeah,
But
like to feel
eh,
relaxed.
yeah. And then once we know your purpose and know how to receive messages, you're starting down that path, taking that first step. But as you're taking those steps to achieve your purpose, all of a sudden you get fears. Instead of that
Mm-hmm.
excitement, it's that fear part that we look
Mm-hmm.
at, and we
Mm-hmm.
get blocks. All of a sudden, have you ever noticed you're heading somewhere and all these things all of a sudden start showing up to block you?
Mm-hmm.
Fears or blocks, we work through that, whether it's going around that wall or over or just getting through, because
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like, you've got the angel on your shoulder and the devil on your other shoulder, and when you're following what the angel tells you, that little devil wants you to stop. So that's why all of a sudden things just pop up in the way, and so we're just going to get around that little devil and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we've got this intention, this is our path, and we're just going to keep going, and I don't
Yes.
care what you say. We're going to figure out a way to get
Mm-hmm.
around it or over it so we can achieve. We're here. We're going to achieve what it is that we're here for, and
Yes.
nothing's going to stop us.
Oh, that's very nice. I like that conversation that happens. Especially, I think it's very um, intense at the beginning of the new path when we found our purpose, and now we need to start taking steps towards our purpose.
Mhm.
There are so many obstacles arise around us just to keep us
Mhm.
safe in our known reality instead of just helping us to move forward and overcoming those fears and blockages helps to actually live a better and happier life.
Yeah. And you're right. There is that fear that's born in us to be safe. Because if we
Yes.
didn't have that inside us, in old caveman days, you could be killed if you didn't have
Yes.
that fear. But that's still in us. And so now we're not in those caveman days. We're not going to
Correct.
die if, you know, this or this happens. So
Yes.
even though we feel like it. So yeah, it's breaking through that and just trusting that you can do that and having the
Hmm.
support and encouragement from somebody, whether it's um, your own community of family or friends, or just going outside and finding somebody else that you know can help encourage you and get you to where you want to go.
Yeah, finding that community is important so you don't feel
Mhm,
alone if you're navigating through those
mhm,
difficult times. I want to get back to a purpose. I know that a lot of people over the last couple of years they start actually spending more time looking into their purpose in life, and it's so for many people they think it should be something big and super meaningful,
mhm.
right? What are your thoughts on that? On the purpose itself? Should it be like wow, something huge, or it should be something that nourishes your soul, and it can be just I don't know, helping kids or fostering dogs and cats, or just helping somebody to just by having a community on a like community of I don't know Facebook page, so help to support people who are navigating through I don't know emotional physical abuse. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm so glad you asked me that because so many people think when you have a purpose, it has to be something huge. And yes, there are people that have a huge purpose. Mother Teresa, Tony Robbins, how many,
Yeah.
millions of people that they've helped. But I think most of us, our purpose can even be something as simple as in this particular moment. So maybe you're walking down the street and you see somebody and you just smile at them or smile at them and say hello. And you don't know that they were just having a horrible morning, and
Hmm.
just that one little thing of smiling at them just changed their whole thing. Your purpose at that time was to be in that place at that time and give that smile. Or something as simple as opening
Yes.
the door for somebody, just being helpful. It changes somebody
Hmm.
else's attitude about society sometimes when we do that. And so, yes, we might have one big purpose that we want to achieve. And I'm going to say most of us probably aren't going to be changing millions of people's lives. You never know. Some of us will.
Yes.
And that's great. But I think just being helpful and being friendly and being nice to other people, that is a good purpose to start with. And
Hmm.
then as we decide what it is that we need to do and we're going for that, make that a big goal, but also we have these little side purposes for different times, different periods, different situations.
Yeah, I agree because I think sometimes even one sentence can help a person which we don't even realize about, right? And as you said, a smile to the stranger, they may lighten up their day, or helping in a grocery store, somebody opening the door and holding the door for them.
Mhm.
It may play such a significant role for that person, which we as people who did this, we're just not realizing it. Yeah.
Yeah. How often has something taken you off track? Like I remember, well, this was when I was working as a police officer. I think I happened to, it was a different time of day than I would go to McDonald's and get my Diet Coke in the afternoon. And then something kept me off track and I went at a different time and just happened to run into this lady who was just visiting the town and she needed to get from there to where she had been staying. And she thought she could walk. It was like 8 miles away.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so I was able to give her a ride, but it's like if my
Oh,
if my day had not been delayed, I wouldn't have been at that McDonald's at that
yes.
particular time and I wouldn't have met her and she would have tried walking and who knows, it was the middle of summer, who knows what would have happened to her. So
Yes.
that particular time, that was my purpose to make sure she was safe and get her home. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it's interesting.
yes. It is very interesting how the universe unfolds for us, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
What would you say to women who feel stuck in their role they have outgrown? Just they're very scared to change.
One thing you can look at it as for this particular time, this is what I was supposed to be doing. And that could be somebody that's in a career right now, but it's at the end of their career and they're getting bored with it or just
Mm-hmm.
disgruntled. It also could be somebody, moms. We have that period where your purpose is raising your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden now they're either out of the nest already and on their own, or they're about to be. Teenagers no longer need or think they need their parents like they did. And so they may be feeling left out of their kids' lives, or now that they need to find another purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
you can think of it as this is what I was supposed to be doing at this time, but now I have a new purpose. And if you're not sure what it is, that's when you need to start doing some exercising. Look into not exercising, that's a good thing too, but
Practicing.
doing some exercises. Unless you want to be a personal trainer, then you can do the exercising. But start looking inside yourself. What is it that you love to do? And start dreaming. That can help guide you to what is your next step. And then look forward to it instead of being afraid of, I don't know what to do now. Make some big dreams and write them down. Start making a vision board. What would you love to have in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Whether would you like to travel? Do you want to, who knows, start a rescue shelter for animals or a big ranch, or what is it that you want? What would make you feel fulfilled? Because
Mm-hmm.
when you're doing something that makes you feel fulfilled, you're going down the path to your purpose.
Yes.
And so find something that fills you up and take that first step. That first step is the hardest. And that's where you need the
Yeah.
courage to take. So you got clear. Now you're going to take that first step. Get the courage to take that first step, even if it's just really
Mm-hmm.
tiny. And as you start taking those little steps, that's when you get the confidence. And that's when you can do more things and bigger things.
Yes.
So that's the three things: clarity, courage, and confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
and get out there and do it. And if you still have that fear, you're feeling, what are other people going to say? You know what? It doesn't matter.
It does.
Like I said, I've had people in my family, oh, what's she doing now? But you know what? I love what I'm doing, and I just don't tell them anymore if I'm doing something new.
Yes.
If it's something that interests them, well, they'll find out, or I'll tell
Mm-hmm.
them at the proper time. But don't let other people guide what your life is. And
Mm-hmm.
reach outside, like Victoria said, get in a community, whether it's friends that you're meeting where you live, or there's so many good groups online, whether it's a Facebook group or different things,
Yes.
or and find somebody that will encourage you and give you that push when you need it.
Oh,
And it's
Bossy
even
Woo,
make
right?
exactly, get a coach, get a community, go to a spiritual, in there's usually some kind of spiritual group, or
Mm-hmm.
where they're doing holistic healing in a lot of towns, and start going there. They probably have classes, and there's so many things online.
Mm-hmm.
Bossy Woo. Or but
Just
just
try different
find
things, right?
support. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not sure, like you said, try different things. I might be interested in this. Okay, go take a class. Or I might be interested in this. Go find out
Yeah.
and just learn some things, and that's a good way to start.
And I really like what you said when you were trying different things at the beginning of your path, right? Like I was doing this, and you did Reiki, and you have to get attuned to Reiki. Then you did sound healing, you did past life regressions, hypnosis. So you're just trying different things to see what your soul is aligned with. And sometimes in your, as you said, in your bucket, you can have multiple tools to use in
Mhm.
your practice. And it's not necessarily defining you as you cannot commit to one thing. You're just exploring multiple possibilities that the world has to offer.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
perfect way to put it. Mhm.
Yeah. No. Valerie, would you share your final encouragement message, your legacy message with the listeners?
Find what's in your heart and take that first step towards attaining that. What's in your heart is your passion, it's your purpose, and just go forward. That's why we're here, to live our purpose, to help others through our purpose, and just take that first step, even if it's just a little tiny one. once you take that first step, the other ones will be easier and easier.
Yeah. Thank
Just do
you.
it.
Thank you. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you so much for being on today's podcast. You
Mhm.
can find more information and connect with Valerie by following the links below this episode. And if you feel overwhelmed with constant challenges and pressure, download my 3 favorite techniques to boost your calmness that will help you to stay grounded and be present in a moment. Thank you very much one more time for being here today and sharing your encouraging and motivating story. And listeners, please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss another new powerful story. And remember, no matter how tough things get, you are not alone.